Welcome to the Squad Show. I'm Sam Ekstrom of Locked On Sports Minnesota. Today, I tell you who made the best first impression on Monday night, besides JJ, of course.
Well, I'm Ron Johnson, and former NFL and Gophers Hall of Famer. I got to talk about the receivers. JJ McCarthy, help him out, people.
Julia Daniels, Care 11 sports reporter. I doubted him. I was a critic and was pleasantly surprised by JJ McCarthy on Monday night.
Reggie Wilson, sports director at Care 11, and JJ McCarthy is here.
Skol! It's the Viking Squad. Everything Minnesota Vikings every week. Breaking down all the big hits and game-changing plays from the land of 10,000 lakes. The way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. It's time to gear up. The Viking Squad Show starts now.
We are so glad that you're with us on this Wednesday. The Viking Squad Show is back. Our Care 11 Spectacular with Reggie Wilson, Julia Daniels, Ron Johnson, of course, and again, I'm Sam Ekstrom. Vikings win Monday night. Reggie was in Chicago. We get the report from him. We rediscuss all the memorable moments. There were a lot of them from that performance, and we start to turn the page to Atlanta, how J.J. McCarthy can improve. The first three quarters weren't the best, people, and whether Michael Penix provides a more significant test than Kirk Cousins did when these teams played last year. And, of course, we report on our FanDuel locks for Week 1. We make our FanDuel picks for Week 2. It's a show that is brought to you today by FanDuel. New customers can bet 5, get 300 when the first $5 bet wins. Reggie was in Chicago, so we go to him first. We'll need like a deep dish pizza review if you had any good Chicago food, but also I want to hear your impressions being in the building, being in the locker room. What stood out to you from your unique perspective with the Windy City comeback from J.J. McCarthy?
All right, no deep dish this time. We didn't have time. Although they feed the players lose right after the game, and somehow I didn't meet the criteria.
And Chicago press box not known for its food. I don't know if they've gotten better the last few years. In my
they
era,
ran out of food.
They ran out of food
before. They ran out of food before the game started. Redeemed a little bit at halftime. So, but we didn't come here to talk about cuisine. Although I did have a good breakfast experience at Batter and Berries with my photographer JT, and he loved it. We had the French toast flight. Anyway, the game. Let's talk about the game. So it was an interesting game to me because I think JJ McCarthy came out and he was locked in. Like, he was on the field. I think we got in the stadium around 4:30 or so, and JJ McCarthy was already out on the field, just walking around, just taking in the sights, kind of looking up at the lights and all that stuff, and just getting prepared. And then the game started, and he just seemed kind of nervy. He seemed kind of wiry, and certain things that just happened that was just kind of freaky things that really didn't. I don't think all of it was his fault. Some of the pocket collapsing and, him trying to step up into the pocket, trips over himself, some batted passes, like just some unfortunate things for a debut. And 3 quarters, it just didn't go well. And after that third quarter, pick 6, it was like, oh, man, dang. Like, everybody on Twitter, I'm seeing people like, hey, Max Brosmer, what is he? What can he do?
Yes,
put him in. I'm like, dang, like after like 2.5 quarters, like that's what we're doing. But you look at like the halftime stats, and before he threw that long play to Speedy before the end of the half, he had 52 yards. And so you're like, okay, what's going on? And he threw the pick 6. And I think something that was interesting, just watching the sideline after the pick 6, Kevin O'Connell looked at Jay. He was like, we're good. You're good. JJ's like, we're good. And what's interesting about the whole thing is, JJ told the players, is there anywhere else you'd rather be? And I think, Justin Jefferson said it kind of gave the huddle some juice. It was just like, dang, after that, pick six, like that's your mentality. And I think that was something that kind of energized the team. And you talk about JJ McCarthy being a gamer. That fourth quarter was just one for the ages. And he had that look in his eye. And he just made play after play after play. And it was just incredible to just see the tide turn. Bears looked like they were controlling the game for most of the game. And then he goes in there and does what he does. And what was interesting about the end is, I was trying to get it on camera. But when he walked off the field, he just kind of like gave the camera like a stare. And Justin Jefferson came behind him and dapped him up. He was like, "I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you." And they ran into the locker room. And I kid you not, JJ McCarthy, I walked up to him in the locker room, and he must have dapped me up like 3 times. He was so giddy in the locker room after what happened. And what I saw from the guys was, especially after that pick six, they could have given up. They could have mailed it in. But everybody talked about how much they believed in JJ McCarthy's ability to do what he did in the fourth quarter. Everybody we talked to, from Josh Metellus, Jonathan Bernard, Aaron Jones, everybody just kept saying, we believe that JJ could do something like this. Whether or not they really meant it or not, or really believe, you never know. But they told us, they still didn't feel like they were out even after that pick six. And I think ultimately their confidence in JJ gave him confidence in himself and allowed that thing to just kind of snowball. And it was just an incredible performance to see.
Snowball is a good word, Julia. Like it felt avalanche-like. The sequence after the Bears had the holding call, the intentional grounding, it went missed field goal, touchdown, 3 and out, touchdown, block punt, touchdown. Like that was the sequence of events that got the Vikings from down 11 to up 10. And within that, what stood out to you about the way that game just turned with an abrupt 180?
What more can you ask for when it comes to Monday Night Football, right? I think we got all of our primetime games this week. Everybody got their money's worth when it came to those games. But the thing that stood out to me was, I think back to last week when we talked to JJ McCarthy, and I asked him on Wednesday, I said, what is your, where do you try and get your mind at when you walk out to Soldier Field? And obviously it's all this pressure. This is your hometown. This is the debut everyone's been waiting for. There's all these stories. There's pictures of you in Bears. There's all this pressure headed into this game. What? Because to me, it's mind-boggling. I can't imagine being under that kind of pressure. And so I wanted to know where he would be at. And he said he just lets himself feel every emotion that comes to him. And I think it's sometimes we don't hear that from guys. They always talk about locking in and making sure that they're thinking about these certain things. And to me, I think that sequence of events is like a microcosm for JJ McCarthy letting himself go through the motions. And I think it is also a testament to the strength of his mindset in a way. We saw a glimpse of this in the single preseason game that we saw him in at US Bank Stadium last year, where he threw a pick and he got back out there and then he played better than he had before that even happened. And it's something that we saw on Monday night as well, where things are going horribly wrong, right? That's why I was saying I had some serious doubts, and I think rightfully so. You don't expect a guy to come out in his debut as a starting quarterback for a team at his age and turn things around the way that he did. And so I think it's just a testament to how JJ McCarthy doesn't give up. There's no give up in his game. And there's no being defeated. There's so much hope. And you can tell that just by talking to him as a person. He is so, like Reggie said, so giddy all the time. I think he just has a great mindset. He is so positive and glass half full kind of thinking guy. And where there's a will, there's a way, as they always say. And I think that we saw that on Monday night. I was very impressed by that.
Yeah, Ron, I saw a tweet. Maybe it was an Instagram reel, not sure, unverified, but it says JJ McCarthy's improved his record since 9th grade now to 62-3. The guy just doesn't lose. And when you've been in those high-level situations in high school state championships, in college national championships, like he's used to feeling, like he's used to slowing his heart rate in those situations. And you could tell, like Kevin O'Connell talked about it, poise from the start, even when things weren't going well, poise all the way to the finish.
Yeah, and here's the thing that's weird for me. So if you were to think about the stats, and people are going to say like, oh, he had a horrible first quarter, and then he had a great fourth quarter. No, here's the thing. It was literally the execution, and JJ McCarthy somehow, some way figured out how to execute in the fourth quarter. But it wasn't a ton of passes. It was the entire Vikings team. I think my memorable moment for JJ McCarthy is one at the end of the half throwing that dagger to Jalen Naylor. I think that was kind of get the moment going. Everybody's like, okay, this kid can really sling the ball. And then the read option, like to come up to the line of scrimmage, knowing you have a rerun where you're reading number 31. You're reading the last defender on the end. That's the guy. When JJ McCarthy stuck it in his stomach, you could see his eyes look over. 31 is crashing. He didn't yank it right away. He kind of waited and rolled him a little bit to say, all right, this guy's really coming. And he pulls it, and then TJ Hockenson, and then to have the wherewithal to not just run up TJ Hockenson's back, not to take a huge hit from a scraping linebacker. He kind of snuck underneath TJ Hockenson's stomach. Like it was one of those masterful runs that shows his ability to read the defense too, because a lot of people just hand it off there and they're just like, yeah, I'm gonna hand it off. The offensive line looks like they have it, and the offensive line had it, but 31 would have made that tackle. And that's what made him, like, those moments for me, that's really doing it. But in the first quarter, to go 5.2 yards to go. Now his third downs were terrible. I mean, they had some terrible third down yardage, but overall yards to go in the first quarter was 5.2. Yards to go in the fourth quarter was 5.8. So there wasn't a huge shift. The shift was they just started making the plays. I mean, receivers weren't dropping balls. Guys were making catches. Justin Jefferson dropped an early one that he makes that 9 times out of 10. Yeah. It went straight through his hands, even though he had to jump. It was high, but that's why he gets paid $200 million. He makes that catch. So J.J. McCarthy, to me, just showed growth throughout the game. And I spoke to Will Johnson last night, and we'll air that this week. Will Johnson said after like the second quarter, or no, he said during the second quarter, I think he was like, oh, this game's not over. He's like, this game's not over. He's like, J.J. McCarthy, I've seen him do this. He can do this. Like, he did it at Michigan. He did it in high school. No matter what the game situation was, he was like, this game's not over. And he said he had both sides, though. He had Colston Loveland, Michigan guy, tight end for the Bears. He had J.J. McCarthy, Michigan guy. He's not a Josh Metellus guy because, they're way ahead of him. But 2 of his teammates were playing in this game, so he was watching. And he was like, you know what? A lot of people were writing J.J. McCarthy off. He said, I wasn't. He said, we've seen this guy do what he did, which is stay dialed in the entire game. And to all the people that was hating, talking about, oh, he's going to need to meditate and all this. Yeah. How you feeling this morning?
A lot of receipts that didn't hold up from the first half at Soldier Field.
Gotta love it.
Yeah, and you knew it was going to happen. It's so predictable to give up on the team at halftime of the first game. But I think Kevin O'Connell went out of his way to really say, hey, the struggles were collective. It was a lot of the operation that wasn't right. We had poor protection. I mean, he didn't say this, I'm saying it. They had poor protection. They had drop balls. Weird stuff like J.J. McCarthy tripping over a shoelace when 9 out of 10, he's running for a first down with his legs, and it feels totally different. The running game was not going whatsoever until they started leaning on Jordan Mason, new RB1 Jordan Mason. Second half, it all turned around. Run game got going. Protection got better. People hung on to the football a little more effectively. Everything changed once the ball got rolling in the right direction. Let's just quick whip it around. I want a few more little moments that stood out to you, like maybe that flew under the radar, some intangibles or some camera shots. I wanted to just mention, how about KOC's reaction to JJ's rushing touchdown? Just total fan vibes in 4K. Great shot of Kevin O'Connell turning around, kind of letting out a scream at Josh McCown there on the sideline. Kind of looked like Reggie did when he was doing his cold open. Actually, he had that look in his eyes. But Reggie, what are some little moments that stood out to you from the win on Monday?
Some little moments. I don't know if anyone saw, but on that touchdown pass to Justin Jefferson, McCarthy actually got his foot stepped on and kind of had to maneuver through that. That was an interesting play. There was also a block picked up by the running back that also kind of made that happen as well.
Mason,
I thought, Mason. And so I thought that was pretty cool. Also, Javon Hargrave finally getting home at the best time for that defense. Like he called Caleb Williams Patrick Mahomes, like when we talked to him after the game, just as far as like how slippery he is. And he was like, yeah, this was the first time I really even got a chance to play against him for real. He was like, the only time I really knew anything about him was trying to prepare for him this week. Like I really hadn't gotten a chance to play against him yet. And so that was a test for the
Was he
defense
not
as
in the
well.
Super Bowl when they played? He must have been hurt at the time because they played in the Super Bowl, 2 years ago?
No, he's talking about Caleb Williams.
Oh, okay. I was thinking Mahomes. I don't know why I was stuck on that.
Yeah. No, he
My
was
bad.
because he played against Mahomes. It
Mhm.
was why he was making the comparison with Caleb Williams. And so also just other little moments. I don't know what's going on in Caleb Williams' brain sometimes, just like the stuff that he does just doesn't make sense. Like, him having a chance to throw the ball away and he stepped out of bounds instead, or having wide open receivers and he's just airmailing the throws. Like, I just don't really know. Like, he just doesn't have a feel for the game yet.
No, he has a feel for the game. So here's the thing. The throws, that's just football. But the other stuff you're talking about, the laying out flat like Patrick Mahomes and throwing the ball and getting an intentional grounding, the stepping out of bounds before trying to throw it deep to just throw it out of bounds anyway. That's the that's the Caleb Williams that Ben Johnson fought with all summer. Like, that's the arguments that the media was talking about that was going on. Caleb Williams is like a horse that doesn't want to saddle. Like, he does not want to be like, you cannot corral me. Don't put a brand on me. I'm not in your stable. I want to be a wild horse. I'm unbridled. Don't touch me. Let me be me. And that's the problem. Ben Johnson needs a Jared Goff. I talked about that on the pregame show with the number. Here's the thing. The offense for the Bears went 11 personnel 71% of the time last year, which meant he got to run around, throw the ball, 3 receivers out there. The Lions was 54%, and then their 12 personnel, which was third in the league, was 32%. So Ben Johnson wants a more controlled. That's why he drafted Colston Loveland.
Yeah.
That's why that was Sam's guy. He wanted 2 tight ends with him and Cole Kmet because he did it the third most in the league last year with the Lions. Caleb Williams doesn't like that. When you go 12 personnel, you can't run around and be an absolute crazy person. And that doesn't fit. He wants to go USC. By the way, if you guys watch Cal, Minnesota this week, it's sexy. They go 4 and 5 wides all the time. And that's what Caleb wants. He wants that USC 4 to 5 wides. Ben Johnson's like, no, dude, like, run the offense. I got Swift. I'm going to run the ball. Like, he doesn't, and that's the problem. He doesn't have structure. That's his problem.
He also scrambles out of clean pockets too.
Yeah, he wants to be on SportsCenter. Honestly, like he said, this is my game, and Ben Johnson and him argue all the time about that. I've talked to a couple guys. I'm not gonna say names, but I know Spice Adams. But it's other guys too that said this. Caleb Williams is constantly doing that. Like, he thinks he needs to make the off the schedule, off platform throw off one leg, and let me run off to my right and just sit there and throw the ball like Jared Goff. And Ben Johnson doesn't have that. By the way, there's only 2 head coaches on their NFL debut that have lost a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter. One is Ben Johnson. Do you know who the other one was?
Belichick.
Nope, it was a Bears coach.
Ditka.
Eberflus.
No.
Oh, brother. That's
so I feel sorry for you Bears fans because lightning struck twice. It's your organization's the only time this happened to a debut NFL coach to do that, to lose in the fourth quarter with a 10-point lead. Matt Eberflus and unfortunately Ben Johnson. And so I feel bad. I like Ben Johnson.
He's got his work cut out for him.
Yeah, he does. It's going to be tough. I don't know. Sam, you said New Orleans needs a quarterback. Maybe they'll trade for Caleb Williams or something, and he'll get the first-round pick.
Caleb's just got you analyze it really well. He does some Superman things, but he doesn't do the simple things very effectively. Like a bubble screen, right? You're throwing a bubble screen behind the receiver where he's got to dive and fall on it, and you miss a third down conversion because of it. Stuff like that. needs to be executed. And I know Kevin O'Connell's talked about that. Like the greatest mark of greatness in a quarterback is repeatedly doing the simplest thing over and over again in a consistent manner. Caleb Williams has a lot of work to do on that. Julia, put a bow on this segment. What's one moment that stood out to you from Monday? Little thing.
Just a little thing. On JJ McCarthy's rushing touchdown, I tweeted about this. The way that TJ Hawkinson blocked for his quarterback on that play it's just, you love to see it. And he's just like fighting to make sure that his quarterback makes it to the end zone. And I don't know. I think it just, TJ had talked to us a lot. Obviously, he say he was trying to get JJ McCarthy to buy a house in Nashville so that they could spend time in the off season together. I think the guys get along really well. And so it's just so good to see that executed on the field. You see this relationship that JJ McCarthy has worked so hard for with his offense and with his team in general. And obviously it's TJ's job, but I just felt like there was some real passion in that block, and you love to see it. You love to see it, and you love to see it work out where they get a touchdown there. So that was something that really stood out to me too. And also, like, going back to Javon Hargrave, just the fact that JJ at halftime was like, "Don't worry, Javon, I've got this." It's like, he'll talk to anybody. He's a yapper in that sense. And, you want to go tell Javon that you got this and reassure him on the other side of the ball, by all means. I just thought those two things were really interesting.
If I was 22 and this like 32-year-old guy who like is way bigger than me and weighs 100 pounds more comes in and he's got, he's been in Super Bowls, I probably wouldn't talk to him for like 6 months.
Right.
That's my mentality.
And then I wouldn't go confidently up to him in a game that you're not doing so great in and be like, don't even worry about it. I got this.
You got to have a little irrational confidence to be a quarterback in this league. I'm convinced of that. Javon Hargrave is a candidate for our next segment. Best first impressions for all the newcomer Vikings. That's next on the Viking Squad Show. It's brought to you by FanDuel. NFL season is here. Week 1 was incredible. Like Julia said, the primetime games. Holy smokes. Unreal comebacks, great drama. And there's a can't-miss offer right now at FanDuel that you want to take advantage of. New customers can bet $5. If you win that bet, you get $300 in bonus bets. That is a great deal. Bet 5, get $300, and you can sprinkle that around across the app. You can do all your futures bets, put it on the WNBA playoffs, the MLB playoffs. Those are coming up as well. Live wagering available. Same game parlays are a lot of fun. Quick, easy betting, quick payouts as well. Ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now or visit FanDuel.com to get started. FanDuel.com, and place your first $5 bet. I think one of the themes of Monday night as the squad show rolls on, one of the themes Monday night, newcomers making strong first impressions on this fan base. And when I say newcomers, I mean Vikings debuts. JJ McCarthy, I think, could be a candidate here. I'm not going to let you talk about JJ, of course. We got to go elsewhere. We got to spread the love, give the flowers out to other people. But Ron, which first-time Viking made the strongest impression for you?
Can I use Eric Wilson? I mean, he's not a first-time Viking. But he's
a loophole. That is a loophole, but I will allow it. Go for it.
He's a new Viking. So I'm going to say Eric Wilson, and he didn't come into this game thinking he was going to have to play that many snaps. Blake Cashman, soft tissue injury, tracing down Caleb Williams. You can see Caleb hit that second gear. Blake tried to hit that second gear, and that transmission just dropped out. And, it's one of those things where Eric Wilson came in thinking special teams, maybe here and there, but he still had a block punt. He still made a bunch of plays, keeping the ball in front of him. So I got to go with Eric Wilson. Like, he was impressive to me. The block punt for me, though, like being the starting linebacker at that point and then still wanting to be out there on punt block, that's huge.
Eric Wilson, just wanted to get the stats, played 25 snaps. He had 3 stops in the run game. He had a block punt and an emotional lift, like just a glue guy. That's exactly who he was when he was in Minnesota the first time, too. He did it all. Special teams, forced fumbles, interceptions. I'm actually really looking forward to seeing him more. Unfortunately, it's at the expense of Blake Cashman. Reggie, first time or first impression that impressed you?
To me, and I mentioned Javon Hargrave before, but to me, Jordan Mason. Jordan Mason, 15 carries, 68 yards, and just kind of some carries that just kind of set the tone in that second half. And you could tell that KO was just kind of riding the hot hand with that. And just the dude, like, it just seems and feels different when he has the ball in his hands. He's taking on punishment. He's a bruising back, and he's fighting for those extra yards. You know, the yards after contact is off the charts. And so those runs really kind of help keep some of those drives going, especially in a game where at one point they were like 0 for 10 on third downs. And so one good remedy is to stay above and stay ahead of the chains, and you give the ball to Jordan Mason, and he's doing work. And so I think that really kind of helped JJ McCarthy. And also I think that was an underrated moment for that read option that was able to work at the end when you got the guys crashing down, because they're hyper aware of the run, and JJ has the corner, has the edge to go ahead and take that into the end zone.
Yeah, every time Aaron Jones got the ball, it just looked like he had nowhere to go. And every time Jordan Mason got the ball, the heavens were parting. I mean, I don't know if he's creating that. I don't know if the play calls were different. It just felt like Jordan Mason had a lot of room to run. Aaron Jones was suffocated whenever he touched the football. So I felt a little bad for Aaron, but man, Jordan Mason is a baller. And I think we knew that they were getting that from him. Julia, first impression.
I have to give a shout out to undrafted rookie out of Indiana, Miles Price. Mm-hmm. Listen, this team has been looking for a punt returner. They've been desperate for somebody. Last year, this is what I saw on Twitter. Last year, Brandon Powell's longest punt return was 15 yards, and Miles Price exceeded that 3 different times on Monday night. His longest was 22 yards. First 2 were around 20 yards. But his last one helped set up that 3-play touchdown drive that they had to take the lead. So I think it's just super, I don't know. You always root for guys like that, the undrafted rookies that come in. He told us in the preseason that, like, that's his favorite place to play because he gets to be kind of a psychopath in that sense. But they also haven't had a punt return for a touchdown in almost 10 years. 9 years it's been. And I feel like maybe they have a guy in here now that can end that streak for them. So I want to give a shout out to Miles Price because excellent debut for special teams.
Yeah, Marcus Sherrills versus the Texans. I remember that punt return, Julia, 9 years ago, and they haven't had a punt returner like Marcus Sherrills since he left. And that was one of the great punt return performances on average that I've seen. I mean, there were no super explosive returns, but just a consistent 20 from your punt returner is huge. And it was so good that I think teams are actually going to kick away from him on kickoffs now because he's a kickoff guy too. He and Chandler were back there, I think. It was so impressive that I think they actually might get in the game plan. Like, hey, don't let this guy hurt you. So we could see a different strategy with Atlanta coming in this week. Well, I get to clean it up with Donovan Jackson, and this is no small debut. Donovan Jackson did not allow a pressure in this game.
He was awesome.
He was really good. He was blocking, in tight quarters. He was helping out Justin School a little bit. I don't know if it helped that much. Justin School had a bad game, but he was doing his best, in protecting the pocket. But he was also good on the outside. When they got him outside the hash marks, he had some good kind of solo blocks on an island out there. He takes up space. He was really effective. And once I got to see the stats, it felt like it was a poor offensive line performance early on in this game. I think it was just Justin School. I think the offensive line was 4/5 pretty good. Get Darisaw back, and we're in business. Keep in mind, Donovan Jackson did that without the help of Christian Darisaw. Think of how much better that left side can be with Darisaw in the mix. So no pressures allowed, no sacks allowed. I think it was like 31 pass pro reps for Donovan Jackson. And he had such a quiet camp too, because first of all, it's, no one's really getting tackled. No one's really getting sacked. So there's less at stake for the offensive line. He wasn't in a competition. He was given the job. So we never had to really hear the report, like, how's Donovan Jackson doing? How's the other guy doing? We just kind of heard that he's going to be the guy. It's hard to evaluate him in practice. So we didn't know. We didn't know what this debut was going to look like, and it absolutely came to fruition. That's a first round caliber dude. The Vikings have at left guard. That's enormous as we start to turn the page to Atlanta on Sunday Night Football. What does JJ have to do to improve, if anything, on Sunday night? Plus, Michael Penix is the quarterback now. How much of a tougher test is that from Kirk Cousins last year? That's coming up on the Squad Show. We are brought to you today by Supply House. When the opening whistle blows on a new repair, get your crew moving forward with Supply House. Order today, see parts on your doorstep tomorrow. Over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items from the most trusted brands in the business. Their real-time inventory and honest lead times keep you from punting projects, while their industry-leading customer service always has your blind side covered. Part finder tools and 3D schematics in particular can save you hours on jobs where every detail matters. It's going to help expedite the process, I guarantee it. Join the free Trademaster program today and score serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and a dedicated support line. Visit supplyhouse.com to sign up for free and use promo code SHCollege5 for 5% off your order. That's supplyhouse.com, SHCollege5, the promo code. Real people, real service. Thanks to the everydayers watching us each and every single day on Locked On Vikings and Locked On Sports Minnesota. This is the Squad Show rolling on with our Care 11 crew. Julia Daniels, give us one area where you think J.J. McCarthy needs to show some improvement on Sunday night against the Atlanta Falcons. I don't think we can rely on the 21-point fourth quarter every single week.
No. But you know what? The Vikings that I have covered, which has not been anything similar to how Vikings fans that have been Vikings fans their entire lives have experienced, they always keep you on the edge of your seat. So this is not like particularly out of the ordinary for me as someone that this is my fourth season covering the Vikings. But I think there's just got to be more trust. I don't know if it's play calling or if it's JJ, but it's something that obviously Justin Jefferson had joked with us about in training camp, was just getting JJ McCarthy to trust the fact that, he is going to catch that ball if you throw it down there. And so I think maybe just a relationship building, I think it comes with these games and going through these experiences, because they can't be simulated in any other way than an actual NFL game. And so just trusting his receivers and being able to just, throw it up and trust that they're going to make something out of what he puts in the air. So that's something that maybe, because it just kind of felt like they just, I don't know if it was him or if it was the play calling, but just I tweeted, let her rip, just let her rip, get something going, get some momentum going. And so hopefully that's something that we see this week.
Yeah. Ron, what do you got? Muted.
Oh, yeah, I'm muted. There I go. For me, I'd say it's the efficiency of the play. So when he got to the line of scrimmage early, and then this might just be the first game jitters. He canned and killed a couple plays that normally it's a front situation. So meaning if you have a play called to run left and the front is an over front, which just means the linebacker is covering the guard or the linebacker's covering the tackle. So you can't technically reach the guard that double teams the tackle, can't reach the next guy. So you kill it the other way, or you can it the other way, or you switch out of a pass to a run. It felt like he was coming to the line of scrimmage and he was overthinking it because he was looking around and he's trying to figure out what's like. Sometimes just trust Kevin O'Connell is going to put you in the right play early in the game because nobody knows what the defense is going to do. Now the Bears even confused Peyton Manning on the Manning cast. We heard him say that, like some of the stuff they were doing didn't make sense. So for a rookie quarterback like J.J. McCarthy, it probably didn't make sense either. But that's what I say. I'd say just relax a little bit early on in the game. Don't try to get into the perfect play. Sometimes the actual play might break because the guy overruns it. The linebacker overruns it. The guard doesn't have to reach him, and the running back cuts it back. He has to trust that Aaron Jones, specifically it was Aaron Jones early on, can cut the ball back. He's one of the greatest cutback runners where he cuts it back and kind of flows with the rest of the line. That's the only thing I noticed. I just felt like he was coming to the line a little bit too jittery, like trying to change out of plays that didn't need to be changed because the front didn't move, in my opinion. The Vikings did do some late stunts. I saw Baldy's breakdowns talk about that. And so the Bears didn't do that. So I'm just wondering, like, did Kevin O'Connell give J.J. McCarthy 2 plays, and in his head he felt like that was the better play? Because every time he canned it, I felt like nothing happened. It was like a stuffed run. And Sam, you're right. It was like Aaron Jones. There was nowhere to go. And so sometimes maybe just go with the first play, because the second play they're trying to get you to do that. They want to show you an overfront just to make you think, let's run the other way, and then they get you, right where they want you. So I don't know if the Falcons are that smart. I think Ben Johnson took a little bit of Aaron Glenn with him to the Bears, but I'd say that's my thing. Come to the line, just relax, and take the easy throw. Like, there was times where he had the easy, quick throw to Justin Jefferson on that third down, and he waited and then threw it, and then Justin Jefferson got tackled. If he throws it right away and just says, let me take this 5-yard, Justin can turn up and get 1 yard for first down. He's kind of wanting the big play too early. Just take the easy plays. Like Caleb Williams did that. We've seen a lot of other guys do that. Take the easy play and then get ready for the big play.
Yeah, just a slight improvement on timing, like you said, Ron, and spatial awareness. Like, I think there was a rollout bootleg to Aaron Jones in the fourth quarter where if he throws the ball a second sooner, Jones has a lot of room to navigate. He catches it in stride. He's not so close to the sideline. He actually wanted to stay in bounds at that point in the game too. He threw it late and kind of let him out of bounds, forced him to tiptoe and go out. Just a little quicker on the release. And also just a little more awareness, like where you are in the pocket. He had a ball batted. He had a ball that kind of almost got stripped because it hit the rusher behind him when he cocked his arm. He tripped over a shoelace trying to scramble. Just being a slightly more decisive, slightly more aware of the field around you, I think would actually go a long way toward making that more of a 4-quarter performance. Reggie, what do you got on JJ?
Yeah, I think, and this is partly on Kevin O'Connell as well, but like, I would love to see more of just J.J. McCarthy. And we saw it in the fourth quarter. As soon as that back foot hits the ground, getting the ball out. Like, we just didn't see a lot of that early on. He was holding the ball a little too long sometimes, and then just the right decision ended up not being made because of that. That interception, I saw Kurt Warner kind of break that down where he was just like, when his back foot hits, like, that ball just needs to be out. And it wasn't, and it was late. And Wright picked it off and took it the other way to the house. And so I kind of just want to see him, even if it's a check down, like, just kind of getting that back foot planted and getting the ball out quicker because, like, I think that was one of the things where he's still learning kind of the speed of the NFL game. And, some of those throws that, maybe he could have gotten off in college, he learned in the worst way on Monday night that he can't do that in the NFL because the speed of the game is just a tick faster than maybe he's used to. And also, I think we still just need to see, and this just comes with experience, being in an NFL-style offense, some of those layered throws. Ron mentioned that pass to Justin Jefferson. That ball just kind of ate him up. And Mina Kimes tweeted about this as well. Like, J.J. McCarthy is just so used to throwing these flamethrowers, like these fireballs. And I think sometimes he just has to learn a little bit more about some of that touch. That ball to Justin Jefferson, like, he threw a laser and, like, it looked like it just kind of caught Jefferson by surprise a little bit. And by the time he got his hands up to get it, like, the ball was already almost past him. And so I think a better ball kind of gives Justin Jefferson – he still should have caught it, like Ron said, but I think a better ball just kind of gives Justin Jefferson a chance to catch it and make a play for his quarterback. And then also he talked about even that the pass that he threw to Aaron Jones for the touchdown was a beautiful pitch and catch. But even JJ at the press conference after the game talked about how he could have delivered a better ball to Aaron Jones, that he just catches it and just walks right into the end zone. And so I think those are still some things that, as the reps keep coming game to game and more practices are under his belt, he'll get better with on some of these timing and anticipation throws.
How about Sunday's opponent in their quarterback situation? Falcons, by the way, 4.5-point underdogs coming in. They are 0-1. They lost on a missed field goal as time expired on Sunday to the Bucs. Michael Penix is 4 games into his starting career. He's lost 2 games in overtime and then 1 game on Sunday where, again, missed field goal at the end. So, Reggie, how much tougher, or is it tougher, to face Penix this year than it was Kirk last year when the Vikings beat him, I think, 42-21? Does Penix provide a greater challenge in your mind?
Absolutely. And the
That's a good guy.
athleticism, yeah, of course, yes. And I think it was the Vikings guy too until the Falcons came up and just, well, we won't go there. But I think the athleticism, we saw Penix being able to extend some plays because of his athleticism. That touchdown where he's just like diving across the line there to get the ball into the end zone. I think those are things that you have to worry about. And also, Penix has an absolute cannon for a left arm. And so those are things like, even when you feel like there's not a window, sometimes Penix can fit it in there. And I think Penix is playing with a lot of confidence. They should have won that game. Julia's favorite kicker misses that field goal. And I just, what's his name, JJ?
Young Hoku.
Juju? Young Hoku?
Young Hoku.
It's Young Way Cool. It's Young Way Cool. But I think that's something that
Wait, am I actually saying it wrong?
yes, it's Young Way Cool.
Oh, I thought everyone was making fun of me.
No.
Sorry, the tables have turned. I thought usually everyone's just making fun of me and how I'm saying something.
All the Atlanta residents probably say Young Ho Cool for other reasons, but
Well, you know who they signed this
Only
week?
when he misses.
they signed John Parker Romo.
Parker Romo to their practice squad.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did. So I know we're kind of getting away from the plot from what you asked, Sam, but
I enjoy it,
think,
though. This is good. Let's keep this going.
But I think Penix provides a different, Kirk Cousins is a timing guy. That back foot sets down. He wants to get the ball out, whether it's a check down or not. I think Penix just presents a more dynamic, big play type of a presence at quarterback.
Yeah, he was not an eager runner in the 3 games last year. He barely ran the ball. On Sunday, 6 rushes, 21 yards, including a huge go-ahead touchdown in the fourth quarter. Looked like it was going to be the game winner before Baker Mayfield broke their hearts, and that Atlanta defense is porous, and I think that's the reason why they're probably not going to be that good this year. But Julia, from Kirk to Penix, they're both still there. Like, Kirk is on a team he doesn't want to be. He's just hanging out, making mega bucks to be the backup. I think it's a pretty good life for him, but maybe not for Kirk himself. Do you think is Penix, is this just a totally different dimension of quarterback? Like, throw the book out on whatever they thought they knew about Atlanta last year. This just kind of adds a different element.
Yes. Yeah, because Michael Penix is he's got so much more to bring to an offense than Kirk does, because he can run the way that he can run. I'm just super interested in this because it is the rematch of the 2023-2024 national championship, but it's so different at the same time. I'm excited to see, obviously, these two quarterbacks face off again, but it is so different because I think Michael Penix's game is light years better than it was when he was at Washington. And I also think that JJ McCarthy, I mean, they won that national championship because of their running back. Dare I say, hot take, it was a run heavy offense. And I think JJ McCarthy too, he's got so many more weapons to work with. And so, yeah, I think it's a way more interesting matchup when you have Michael Penix back there. And I do think, yes, you throw the entire book away when it comes to this Atlanta offense compared to when they were facing Kirk and just wiped the floor with the Falcons last year in his return. And so I think it'll also be interesting. We still have to wait and hear if their wide receiver 1 and 2 are going to be playing on Sunday night.
Right,
but,
Rooney and London, yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see on that. That could also be a huge factor in how this game plays out too. But I do feel for Michael Penix because, in his 4 starts, he's just it's not been his fault necessarily that they lost these games. And so, I think it'll be interesting. It's also just so interesting for the Vikings to, obviously have JJ McCarthy as their starting quarterback, and they're opening their first 2 games with the 2 quarterbacks that were drafted ahead of him, same draft class and everything. So it's starting to feel like this new era of the NFL. So it's very cool to see.
Yeah, that 2024 draft class could end up, comprising like a fifth of the league's quarterbacks, and they all could be pretty decent. Ron, so if you're Michael Penix You're taking on a Brian Flores defense for the first time, and he was part of the scouting last year, but he didn't play in the game. What is the greatest challenge that he's going to face against this complex and exotic of a defense?
I'd say third down. So you look at third down for the Vikings defense. They had the third best third down and to go, which was 10.3 yards. So they were putting the Bears in long situations. And then you look at the yards gained, same thing. Like on third down, Brian Flores was absolutely getting after him. What was it, 28.6% conversion on third down? And that's, and it's mainly the yards to go. Like if you can put somebody that far back, now as for the Falcons last week, 6 yards to go on third down. So they were really efficient on their third downs because of the running game, because of Bijan Robinson. And it's not the running game. Dude only had 24 yards rushing. He had 100 yards receiving. And one of them, of course, was the big run. But he's a very utilized running back. Like you can't assume it's always a handoff. It's a fake handoff to a screen. It's a fake handoff, and then he runs a Texas route. Like there's a lot of little wrinkles that he does that honestly scares me without Blake Cashman. Blake Cashman is one of the smartest linebackers when it comes to recognizing run versus pass. And I'm not saying Eric Wilson's not, and I'm not saying Ivan Pace isn't, but Ivan Pace is like a hungry dog. Like he's going to go after every bone that they throw out there. And that's what makes me a little nervous. Like, because if you show something, he takes off running after it, all of a sudden he's back behind you running a screen or running a tight end screen. So I'd say that's going to be the hardest thing for Michael Penix to deal with is Brian Flores does give him numerous looks. I hope that's what ends up being the key. The Buccaneers kind of play a true Tampa 2. They kind of sit back a little bit. And when you think about everything else that goes that's involved in the way the looks like kind of read, Brian Flores is not traditional in one bit. So he's going to come, he's coming in here with a non-traditional. I will say Kirk Cousins is probably doing what Kirk does, pulling out one of those notebooks, telling him everything he needs to know about Brian Flores. But the one thing about Brian Flores is he's a guy that doesn't like to wear underwear at the same time. He likes new, clean underwear every week. He's going to do something different that's not the same. He's not grabbing the same old underwear out of the drawer and saying, okay, boom, here's the defense. He's going to have wrinkles, and Theo Jackson told us about that this summer. He's going to have wrinkles in there every week that you're like, okay, we got to learn this. Let's figure it out, and then let's execute it. And I think that's the toughest thing for Michael Penix. And he likes to throw those screen and whip routes. Van Ginkel. Like that's where Van Ginkel lives. Like those screens and those wide receiver quick throws and those whip routes into the flat. Van Ginkel is timing those up. So I would not be surprised if he somehow tricks his kid into throwing him one.
Yeah, it felt like at times the Vikings weren't getting home on Monday night, but that was Williams and his crazy elusiveness. The Vikings pressured Caleb on 20 out of 44 dropbacks, and a lot of that was the interior. Jonathan Allen, Javon Hargrave had like 13 pressures combined. Insanely good performance. And I don't know if Penix has quite that escapability that Caleb does either. So this could be an opportunity for the defense to really feast. I know that in the bold prediction segment, Julia, what do you have, like 4? You said 4 sacks, I think, the Vikings defense would get. And how close were they? How close were they on half a dozen occasions to get Caleb down to the ground? They couldn't do it. That'll be a big part of stopping Penix, is actually converting on some of those opportunities. When we come back, we'll make some FanDuel locks. We'll report on how that went in week 1. Not good. And we'll put a wrap on the squad show. It's brought to you by Mazda today. You can just move through life, or you can find the things that move you. It's your choice. You can choose to get out there, choose your people. You can choose to go for it. Like, really, go for it. Just choose to do something that moves you. Mazda crafts cars for those who choose to do more than simply move. Mazda, move and be moved. Mazda, move and be moved. We did not have a moving performance in the FanDuel locks in week 1. 0 for 4. Ron, you had McCarthy 250 plus yards. And I think he was about 100 short there. Yeah, if he had just had 4 quarters, the way the fourth quarter was, you would have won easily. Reggie, you had a first TD for Adam Thielen. That did not come to fruition. I had Adam Thielen 3.5 receptions over. That did not come to fruition. Not even close. Julia, I feel like you kind of had a chance to hit this one. Jordan Mason with the last touchdown of the game. That didn't happen, but, the way he was running, I give you credit for being the closest to winning. But let's regroup. Now, the bets are not as available right now. They haven't released all the prop bets, all the passing, rushing, receiving yard stuff. So we're going to have to keep it simple this week for the FanDuel locks. I'm going to move the over-under up, and I'm going to take over 49.5 because I think the Falcons defense is young and not ready to play at a high level. They give up a lot of yards late. They gave up 42 to the Vikings last year. They have a rookie at safety in Xavier Watts. They have a rookie at nickel in Billy Bowman. And those 2 first-round pass rushers, they're just not ready yet to take over games. They played like 25 snaps in week 1, James Pierce, Jalen Walker. I think that defense is susceptible. And I'm putting the over at 49.5 plus 158. That is my FanDuel lock. What do you got, Ron Johnson?
I'm thinking about the Minnesota Vikings total points. There's also the alternate total. I'm going to just go something simple. It's not up there yet. It's going to have to be up there, though. I'm going to go Jordan Mason rush yards, 50 plus.
Mason 50 plus. Yeah, we'll adjust that. If that doesn't show up on the board, we'll get the next closest thing. But if you want to take something that's not available on the board, it'll probably be on the board. So we'll open that up. Reggie, what do you got?
Yeah, I don't like these. I'll do first scoring play, Vikings touchdown minus 210.
Yeah, get that faster start for JJ. Maybe get the ball first and drive right down for a TD. Julia.
I am going to go just based on the Vikings come from behind win, a race to 5. Take the Falcons plus 112.
So the Falcons get the first 5+ points. Interesting. Kind of zigging. And you know what? Coming off of an emotional, highly charged win with a lot of celebration and a lot of energy expended and a short week, that can be a real indicator of regression the following week. So let's keep an eye on that too. When you empty the clip the way the Vikings did in the fourth quarter, see if they come out to a fast start. It's a primetime game. Under the lights, Sunday night in your stadium. Crowd's going to be bonkers. Like, think of how that comeback on Monday will uplift US Bank Stadium's crowd. It's going to be nuts. I'm sure Julie and Reggie will be there. Ron, you'll be there. I'll be on the couch downstairs watching Tarico and Collinsworth. Just thinking about that buffet line and the desserts and the steak and the carving station and all that good stuff. This is the Viking Squad Show. We do this Mondays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and after the games. It's the best Vikings talk with local experts. Glad you made it today. Thank you for listening, watching, commenting, and subscribing. Injury report comes out today. More Squad Show tomorrow on Locked On Sports Minnesota and Locked On Vikings. So long.